How would you like to live in a city where it rains 247 days in a row? Yes, that's over 8 months. It was on one of the Hawaiian Islands that such a weather record was set. But not only can rainy weather ruin people's mood and plans, but in the literal sense, it washes the ground from under our feet. It kills the immune system and destroys the economy. What would happen to our planet if it would rain continuously? And what terrible consequences might this have on the human body? The Hawaiian Islands is not only a popular tropical resort, but it's also one of the rainiest places on Earth. For this reason, this region is called the Rainbow State. After tropical showers, you can often observe this picturesque natural phenomenon. It was on the Hawaiian island of Oahu between 1993 and 1994 that it rained for 247 days in a row. But rainfall doesn't just bring freshness and the opportunity to admire rainbows to the residents of the Hawaiian Islands. Due to the weather, destructive floods often occur there. For example, in April of 2018, more than 1,380 millimeters or 54 inches of rain fell as a result of powerful thunderstorms on one of the islands. Many fields, roads, and even houses were underwater. Mud flows demolished buildings, uprooted trees, and overturned cars. The main force of the tropical cyclone lasted only a few hours. But for this time, local residents suffered much damage, estimated at 125 million US dollars. The worst of all is the suffering from flooding after heavy rainfall areas around the world, which are in lowland areas or in the valleys of mountains. For example, up to a quarter of the Netherlands is below sea level. To protect against the rising level of the ocean, they constructed a whole network of canals, embankments, and water-controlled dams. But if it were to rain nonstop in Holland, water falling from the sky would very quickly flood the entire region. A similar situation has already happened in Europe in 2002, when dozens of cities were impacted by heavy rain. Then, within a few weeks, in the territory of Russia, Czechia, Austria, Slovakia, and many other European countries, a record amount of precipitation fell. It was the worst flooding caused by rain for the last 100 years in Europe. Rivers overflowed. Buildings and basements were flooded, and even subway stations. Just 1 week of heavy rain caused 15 billion US dollars of damage to European countries. Continuous rain is even more dangerous for mountainous areas. In the plains, water levels usually rise relatively slowly, but the streams flowing from the mountains, like an avalanche, literally demolish entire villages. Water rushing down the slopes takes with it a huge amount of dirt, sand, stone, trees, and other objects. All this mass, called mud flow, can have a speed of up to 10 to 15 meters or 32 to 50 feet per second. Often people don't even have time to escape these dangerous places and get out of the path of nature. For example, in 2018, at least 13 people died as a result of large-scale landslides in the state of California in the U.S. The mud stream that arose during the shower caused such destruction that even the police and rescue services were horrified. It was like the battlefield of World War I, was how the local sheriff recounted the terrible scene. But even if constant precipitation does not occur all over the planet, but only in some regions, growing food will be difficult. Waterlogged soil contains less oxygen. During prolonged flooding, the roots of plants suffer from a lack of oxygen or its complete absence. First, it causes a slowdown in growth, and later, the death of the plant. According to the estimates of scientists, 10% of agricultural land in the world is in a flood zone, which can lead to huge crop losses. It's estimated that 1 day of flooding in a wheat field reduces the yield by almost 2%. If widespread rains cover our planet, the threat of hunger will become one of the main problems of mankind. Finally, continuous rainfall and dampness not only cause many people to feel sad and depressed, an increase in humidity threatens serious health problems. For example, one of the most dangerous infectious diseases is malaria. In 2018, 228 million people were infected with the disease, and as many as 405,000 died. The causative agent of malaria enters the bloodstream of a person as a result of being bitten by a mosquito from the genus Anopheles. These insects today inhabit almost all
survival. Play now.
Hi, I'm Wayne Gretzky, the ambassador of World Hockey Manager. Having the fans behind you is key to winning games. To see the arena evolve and the crowd grow with your success is a great feeling. Join to play, think to win.
climatic zones, with the exception of the subarctic, Arctic zones, and deserts. For a long time, scientists couldn't find an effective malaria vaccine. As of 2019, the effectiveness of the existing vaccine was only between 31 and 56%. Only in 2020, massive clinical trials of a drug were planned, which showed 100% effectiveness in small samples. In 2019, the governments of Kenya, Ghana, and Malawi launched a pilot program for mass vaccination of the local population. But in the rest of the world, the only way to prevent this dangerous disease is to kill mosquitoes. Their number is directly related to the amount of precipitation. So a warm, humid climate and the presence of swamps also increase the risk of an epidemic. The same relationship has been established for another deadly disease, dengue fever. The causative agents of this infection are also transmitted by mosquitoes. Living in a flooded city is even more detrimental to health. And it's not just a risk of drowning in an icy stream. Heavy rainfall disrupts the water supply and sewage system. Contamination of drinking water can cause epidemics of serious diseases, such as cholera. The infection is caused by an anaerobic bacteria that live in many bodies of water. Residents of flood-affected regions are often forced to drink water from rivers and streams. Thus, massive outbreaks of cholera can occur. For example, in April 2019, Mozambique suffered from Cyclone Kenneth, the strongest tropical cyclone in the history of Africa. During the storm itself, hundreds of thousands of residents were left homeless without clean water and fresh food. As a result, more than 1,400 cases of cholera were recorded in only a few weeks. The epidemic, which began in Haiti in October 2010, became even more terrible. According to a statement by the Haiti Ministry of Health on February 16, 2011, the number of deaths from the epidemic was 4,549, and 231,070 people were infected. A joint study by American and Indian scientists showed that prolonged heavy rains significantly increased the incidence of diarrhea in children. This problem is still typical for India and other territories with a monsoon tropical climate. With this type of climate, almost all precipitation falls in the summer. Researchers compared the incidence of children getting diarrhea with the amount of rainfall that fell the day before. It turned out that children got sick 1.5 times more often if 3 weeks before the illness there was at least one day with heavy rain. If the rains began after a long dry period, the incidence increased immediately by 2.6 times. I don't even know if doctors can cope with so many diseases during a flood. Generally, continuous rains would threaten mankind with disastrous consequences. But can it happen that the whole Earth is suddenly flooded? Scientists are sure that this will not happen. According to their calculations, the total atmospheric water content is about 13 trillion cubic meters. That's 13 times 10 to the 12th power cubic meters. That's 459 times 10 to the 12th power cubic feet. Moreover, the surface area of our planet is 510.072 million square kilometers, or almost 197 million square miles. Even if you imagine that all this moisture suddenly falls evenly on the surface of the Earth, its thickness will be about 25.3 millimeters, or about 1 inch. For example, during heavy rain, more than 8 millimeters, or 0.3 inches of moisture falls per hour. So, the global flood, if it does occur, will more likely resemble how it looks during moderate rain that has been going on for a little over 3 hours. But, on the other hand, humanity must not lose vigilance. As the average temperature on Earth rises, the amount of precipitation will increase. For many regions, these climate changes can lead to serious disasters.